everyone. Today we are here with another topic known as enamel. I know this video is very delayed, so we will just jump on the topic. In the last videos, we have talked about the tooth development topic, about all these chapters that you have to cover in dental histology, as well as I also talked about dental anatomy. So in this video, we are covering the second chapter of this dental histology, your enamel. Enamel is the outermost, toughest layer of the teeth, as you all know. But in this chapter, you're not going to live limited in that. You have to get a vast study and knowledge of enamel. Uh, so, as always, we will discuss about theory questions and voice questions. Okay. So I've taken a different approach. I also brought the Orban's PDF with you guys, so we can discuss all the important topics that are covered in any paragraph, and all the questions that can be asked in your examination. So first we go down in the enamel book of histology. Orban's histology. Uh, so first is the physical characteristic. Now, physical characteristic of enamel. This topic, physical characteristic, we will discover about all the outer appearance, all the physical things that an enamel holds. Like enamel forms, already told you what is enamel. First of all, the definition is very important. You have to cover what is the definition of enamel. If you're writing any answer, you have to first describe what is enamel. Okay, so this is all about the physical appearance of enamel, all the how enamel appears in mandibular molar and maxillary molars. So this is all about enamel, and the structure, the hardness of the enamel is brittle. The difference in the physical characteristic between enamel and dentine is a question, but it is very not frequently asked. It is very less asked by the examination, but it can be asked. So you have to think about the difference between enamel and dentine physical characteristics. So in this topic, we'll just jump on the main things about important things about in each topic. So there's just things you can see. Specific gravity of enamel is 2.8. These are all minor questions. They are not very important, but you can read it. Now, chemical properties. Okay, chemical properties is important. First of all, the first thing about any histological um, the structure you're studying is its composition. It's what it is made of. In every enamel, in dentin, in a cementum, you will study about how it is made, what percent is organic and what is inorganic material. So first you will have to memorize this by heart. What is the inorganic material and organic material composition? Okay. So I've already written the chemical properties of enamel, about the properties found in enamel, composition of enamel. These are very important in your voice questions. Okay. So this is about, and then about what is the composition. Like enamel is made up of proteins known as aminogens and non-aminogenous. So about these proteins, you have to know about this protein. I'll just use it and underline it. Aminogenous and inorganic and organic material. Okay. Now about this very important formula. This is the formula of hydroxyapatite crystal. Hydroxyapatite crystals are the crystals that you will see in your enamel as well in your dentin as well as your cementum. This is a very important hydroxyapatite crystal. This is a very important part of the formation of your inorganic material in the structure of the tooth. Okay, so about this and the what is the appearance of the hydroxyapatite crystal, about hexagonal cross section, and its component, it is calcium, phosphorus, iron. Okay, so this is important in this part. Now we'll see in this. This is the arrangement of hydroxyapatite crystal. It's not very important. So you will see primary mineralization, secondary mineralization. This is what you will study in your amylogenesis topic. This is important the amelogenesis topic. Okay, so we'll move on to another part. Now we will start with the structure. Okay, structure is another part. Now structure, you won't be asked about the structure in exam, in your oral exam or in your written exam. You will be asked about the hypocalcified structure, as I have written in the hypocalcified structure of enamel. There you are going to be asked like this: what is the hypocalcified structure in enamel? What is the hypercalcified structure? Okay, so we will discuss about the hypocalcified structures here, like enamel rods is the most important part of whole enamel. If you don't know the enamel rod, its direction, its appearance, there are many things you will miss in your whole chapters. Enamel rod is very important. Everything about it is important. About its number, its what is it, everything about enamel rod is important. So you will talk about enamel rod in this paragraph, and you will have to write about its width, its appearance, where it is more dense, where it is less dense, what direction does it follows. Everything will be in this chapter. Everything about ultrastructure. Okay, ultrastructure, that the features that are below the limit of the resolution of the light microscope. Okay, so this is a or more detailed structure. It has appearance of keyhole pattern, and this keyhole pattern can be asking you a question that describe the keyhole pattern of the enamel rod. Then you have to talk about the ultrastructures of the enamel rod. Okay, so this is all about enamel rod. Striations you will The striations in the enamel rod, also known as incremental line of Regius, neonatal line. These are all the hypocalcified structure I'm talking about, and you have to write about all this hypocalcified structure in your examination as well as in your viva. Okay, directions of rod, I've already talked about directions of rod, where in the permanent tooth it is different, in a primary tooth this is different. So you have to know about the directions of the enamel rod, and this is very frequently asked in the question of your viva. What is the enamel rod? What is the direction of enamel rod? Common width of enamel rod? About what are the striations in the enamel rod that can be seen? So these are all the things you will see in the topic of enamel rod. See, keyhole pattern. I told you about the keyhole pattern. This is a keyhole pattern appearance. Under sugar bands. Okay. Under sugar bands is also a very important topic. It is also comes under the hypercalcified structure of the enamel. There are the directions of the under sugar bands. What is the parazones, diazones? What is the angle between parazones and diazones? This is important. And a very important topic also here is gnarled enamel. Gnarled enamel. We have always asked about gnarled enamel. Also in spotting, when you're doing spotting with your histological slide, gnarled enamel is one of the very frequently asked spotting. So you have to know about the gnarled enamel. Okay. Now, Hunter sugar band incremental line of Regius. Okay, we have talked about incremental line of Regius that we see in enamel rods. They are very important as it demonstrate the formation of enamel, the time period of formation of enamel. There's this neonatal line which describes the primary enamel formation with the secondary enamel formation. Okay, so this is also one of the hypercalcified structure of the enamel. Okay, surface structures about prismless enamel. These are very minor topics that can be asked. Okay, prismless enamel. There's another word. Another word here is pericymata. Pericymata transwave like views believed to be the external manifestation of stria of Regia. These are very small things that people generally missed in the reading this book. I have always preferred to read the books. If you're even watching your lectures or even attending your lecture classes, always go and read that paragraph, because even teachers sometimes small details that can be they can ask in their viva questions. Okay, so pericymata is a small mini topic and very short definition, but it is there, so you have to know about this. And prismless enamel. Okay, These are the one of enamel cuticle. These all are hypocalcified structure. These are very small topics, so you have to cover it in few sentences. Enamel labeling. Enamel labeling is again widely asked questions about enamel labeling. There are types of enamel labeling. Where are these types of enamel and lamellae are located? And in spotting, they are also asked about your enamel lamellae. So this is also important feature of the important hypocalcified structure of the enamel. Enamel tufts. Enamel tufts, rice-like appearance that they give in your dento-enamel junction. You will remember it if you have drawn your histo diagram. You will have remembered it. This is a this is a this is and I'm not using the correct color coding, but I'm telling you this is dentina diffuse. This is your DEG junction. This is your enamel rods. So here this tuft like appears. They get tuft like appears. This is enamel tuft. So enamel tuft is also important. Now visible line structure. In every hypocalcified structure, at least you can remember 4 to 5 points. That is enough for all the hypocalcified structures. Dento-enamel junction, very important. Very important. Short topic, but very important. So dento-enamel junction is also very important for your examination. So let's discuss about how many hypocalcified structure we have seen here, right? Enamel spindles and odontoblastic processes. You will know about more about odontoblastic processes when you will read about pulp. In pulp, there is a zone about where you will find odontoblastic zone where the processes from odontoblast is seen, and this will go and you will read about in odontoblastic in your pulp chapter. So I will not discuss more about it odontoblastic processes. We will discuss it in the chapter of pulp. And enamel spindles are important. Enamel spindles are important. So also about enamel spindles, you have to know about 3 to 4 points. Okay, so I will tell you about it in brief. If this is your odontoblast, okay, then this is your odontoblastic processes. This process is goes under dentinal tubules. Dentinal tubules. This odontoblastic goes in the dentinal tubule, and this is known as odontoblastic process. Okay, so this process have this is known as odontoblastic process. Okay, now we will once I have to write about all the hypocalcified structure that we have studied so far in the enamel chapter. So I will just okay. First is uh, incremental line of Rechius. Neonatal line. Okay. Third is Hunter sugar line. That okay. Fourth one is enamel spindle. Enamel. Fifth is enamel lamellae. Sixth, enamel spindle enamel tufts. I don't think I'm missing anything. Tufts, sugar bands, lamellae. Enamel cuticle, that's not very important. Okay. So these are all the hypocalcified structure of enamel. When you have to study about rod, they will explain about all the how you distinguish between hypocalcified and hypercalcified structure. There's I have told you the rod, you have to study the rods in detail. If you don't study your rods in detail, enamel rods, you won't be able to understand about the hypocalcified and the hypercalcified structures of the enamel. And believe me, they ask it very frequently about this hypocalcified structure, how they are hypocalcified structures. Okay, now it changes. Okay, it changes. It changes in every sorry, in changes in every topic, in every detail about all the structures of the dental histology. You have to know about the age changes. Age changes is a very good closer to your any question. Okay, it is like it completes your answer. You write everything, and then last when you write about the age changes, it complete your answer and it gives a good impact of your answers in the examination. So age changes are important. So read it about the age changes and their just few points. In your examination, you don't have to cover your whole paragraph. Just write few points that are important and move on because you don't have much time. In 3 hours, you have to write like so many answers. So don't write whole chapter. I know you know the whole chapter. Sometimes like too much to write. You have you know too much and there's too much to write, but you can't write it because you have very limited time. You have to prioritize it. What you have to write, you have to write the key points. You have to write a heading, underline your heading, and write the key points and move on. Okay, so don't uh, invest your time in the topics. Even though you know many points, you don't have to invest your time there. Okay. Now clinical considerations. Clinical considerations. Just give a read to it. Now development. Okay, development. Development. We think to talk about amelogenesis, um, life cycle of ameloblast, and how enamel form. Okay, so epithelial enamel organ. We have already talked about what is enamel organ in your tooth development chapter. Okay, you remember in your um, stages, in your bud stage, there's this stages. Okay, this is your bud stage, and this is your cap stage. There is this lining. Okay, this is this lining of inner enamel epithelium, cuboidal lining of inner enamel epithelium. Then there's the lining of cuboidal epithelium. Okay, so you have read about it in your exam in your first chapter about tooth development. Okay, so we are talking about this enamel organ. We have already talked about what is stratum, what is stratum intermedium, stellate reticulum, outer enamel epithelium, inner enamel epithelium. Enamel develops from the inner enamel epithelium. Inner enamel epithelium get differentiated in ameloblast and ameloblast and the ameloblast is responsible for the formation of enamel. Enamel always comes after formation of one first layer of dentin. First layer of dentin is led by odontoclast, then the formation of enamel begins. Okay? So this is all in your development topic. How the signals are sent between enamel epithelium and the odontoblast present in the dental papilla. About cervical loop. Cervical loop is a zone where the inner enamel epithelium and outer enamel epithelium comes in contact. Okay, see, yeah, everything. First chapter, that is a tooth development, is a base of everything. If you cover that chapter very nicely, you will have in every chapter you have 20 to 30% grasp. Okay, so cover that chapter very nicely, very nicely, because if you want to cover it from more than 1 month, you can read it from 10K. Also, you can also read almost first chapter is the base of every chapter in your dental histology. Okay, outer enamel epithelium, sterate reticulum, stratum, intermedium, and enamel epithelium, okay, cervical loop. With that, get is all discussed in your um, first chapter. Okay, life cycle of ameloblast. There are 6 stages of the life cycle of the ameloblast. In each stage, as I told you, name the step, underline it, name the stage, underline it, and then start with the topics. And start with the important key points of the stages. Okay, so we'll jump here, starting with the morphological stage, the starting of the stage, how the ameloblasts are fully differentiated and produce enamel before everything begins. There's a stage known as morphological stage where the morphological changes occurs in the enamel epithelium. Okay, so about morphological stage, then organizing stage, formative stage. There's a tombs. Tomb structure that is formed, which lays layers of enamel. So every small details of the maturative stage, protective stage, desmolatic stage, these all stages are important, and write all the stages, diagrams, if possible diagrams, and key points of all the stages in there. Now, amelogenesis. Amelogenesis is one of the very important topic because it is asked in long questions quite often. Amelogenesis, whole amelogenesis process, about all the steps, formation of enamel matrix, development of tombs process, everything steps of the amelogenesis is important, and amelogenesis you should know, and you have to practice this multiple times because people often miss some steps or some points that can get you marks reduced. So every topic, every detail of amelogenesis is important. Okay, how amelogenesis, how enamel is formed, how mineralization is done, what kind of mineralization is done, everything is important in amelogenesis. Okay, Tombs process, I've already told about your Tombs process. Tombs process is important. It forms rod and internode substances in enamel. Okay, Tombs process, ameloblast covering maturing enamel, mineralization, and maturation of enamel matrix. So these are the 4 steps in the amelogenesis, and you have to write in detail about each and every step of the amelogenesis for the questions that can be asked in a 10 marks question. Okay. So this is all about the enamel and clinical considerations. You have to know a few of the clinical considerations. So this is all about your chapter enamel. So read it very carefully, and this is one of the very large chapter of your dental histology, and there are many questions and frequent questions that are asked from this chapter. Okay, so in the next video we will cover about the next topic, that is dental. So stay tuned, and if you're watching my videos, just write to the comment that what are the more improvement that you want to see in my videos, and also if you're watching this video, first you should know about the chapter. First you read the chapter, then watch my videos. Then you will have a clear cut view about how to write your examinations, or what are the questions that you have to focus in your examinations. Okay, and what are the topics I have to discuss about each and every topics in the from organs from this chapter. So every topic is, and there are like few topics like amelogenesis, hypocalcified structures, uh, life cycle of ameloblasts. These are very frequent asked long questions. Okay, and in short questions, hypocalcified structures, amelogenesis. This also asks as short questions, but more in your exam they are asked as long questions. And they can ask what is the difference between enamel lamellae, enamel tuft, enamel spindles. You have to write about it. Your diagram, what is non-enamel. So all are short answer type questions. Okay, so cover all the questions in your exam from your books, and you will be good for the examinations. So see you in the next video.